Before it all began, I couldn't tell if my memories were real or just fragments from a mind unraveling. Every night I'd wake from a half-remembered flash, a smile in the glow of a street lamp, then darkness. Was that a true recollection or merely a nightmare? I often wondered if my mind had long held secrets I was not meant to know. Years ago, my ex-fiancé of 7 years vanished without warning. One day he simply didn't return. No explanation, no goodbye. I was left with a shattered heart and a persistent uncertainty. Was I truly losing everything, even myself? I often questioned whether those recollections were genuine or if my fear had sown doubt from the start. At lunch, my coworker Amy leaned in and said, "Try something new. Do something different." I wasn't one for casual encounters. My ex and I had grown up together, but in that moment a quiet urge stirred. I whispered, "This isn't just fear. It's a call from my past." That evening I downloaded a dating app and matched with a man whose profile carried a subtle, dangerous charm. Tall, well-built, and wearing a black leather jacket. His image evoked a tangible memory of loss, a hint of familiar cologne and the chill of a rain long past. I wasn't sure if I was reaching for what I'd lost or holding on to an echo. Our first meeting was in a busy park. Amid low voices and the distant hum of traffic, a pause fell between our words. Pause. Then a breath. Every step, every rustle of wind was noted, as if each sound marked a measured moment. On our second date, a brief coffee near that same park, the cool porcelain of my cup, the soft clink of cutlery, and a trace of his cologne merged with a fleeting glimpse of light on a sunny afternoon. I couldn't tell if that moment was real or a trick of my mind. By our third date, a modest dinner in a dim restaurant, the tension grew. He sipped his drink, claiming it enhanced every flavor. When the waiter arrived late, I heard him murmur under his breath, a signal from a past I'd tried to let go. Then suddenly he removed his black leather jacket. He draped it over an empty chair, but it slipped and fell at my feet. I bent down. The cold, worn fabric brushed my skin. As I picked it up, I noticed on the label hidden inside, directly behind the nape, a faded word, always. In that instant, memories both gentle and unsettling flooded in. I recalled that half-remembered smile in the street lamp's glow, then darkness. I asked quietly, "Am I losing my grip on reality, or is this a sign I must not ignore?" I wondered if these signs were simply reflections of my inner turmoil. Was I meant to decipher these clues, or were they only fragments of my fear? Before I could process it further, he reached out as if to reclaim the jacket. My voice faltered. "I need to leave." Pause. A moment's stillness. Then, nothing. The ambient noise shrank to a solitary creak. I left in haste and reached my car. Once inside, I locked the doors and gripped the steering wheel until I felt my pulse through its surface. Every sound, the engine's murmur, a distant door closing, even my uneven breath, seemed louder. In the rearview mirror, a shadow lingered. My heart pounded as old doubts merged with new fear. I reversed and drove into the night, streetlights cutting through the darkness while a red taillight remained in view. After a series of sharp turns over nearly 15 minutes, I realized I was being tailed. With trembling hands, I called out, if it was truly him. His calm reply stated he was concerned for my safety. Confused and frightened, I demanded he stop. In that desperate moment, I couldn't understand why I hadn't called for help sooner. I redialed and, in a trembling whisper, recounted every detail. My date was following me, and the jacket he wore was the one I'd given my ex for our anniversary, my ex who had vanished 7 weeks ago. The operator's measured tone did little to ease my growing anxiety. Soon, flashing lights appeared behind me. In an instant, my pursuer swerved and sped past. In a shop window's reflection, I caught a glimpse of his eyes, a silent indication that things were not as they appeared. He slowly lowered his gaze, as if dismissing a truth that required no further words. Immediately, I pulled over to wait for the responding officers. I gave my statement and pleaded with them to chase after him, but after an hour, no trace could be found. The following day, I went to the police station for a follow-up. They informed me that the CCTV footage from the park, the coffee shop, and the restaurant revealed no clear image of him. Considering his meticulous nature, they had begun processing a restraining order. After that night, another sign emerged. Then the next clue appeared. That next day, while still unsettled, I found a single rose on my doorstep. Later in the office break room, I discovered another rose accompanied by a handwritten note that simply read, "Always." The lone rose and its sparse note unsettled me more than I could explain. In the break room, the sight of the rose and the brief script made me pause. I reported the incident to management. Their review of the CCTV confirmed the janitor's role, deepening the mystery. Yet even his clear-cut explanation left me with lingering questions. The old janitor admitted he'd been paid to leave the rose and note. He recalled that morning an encounter with an older gentleman, his features partly obscured by a white beard and thick eyeglasses, who had requested the delivery. Though the man's appearance was unremarkable, the janitor remembered his manner. The police later obtained a sketch, and further inquiry revealed this was the same man often seen in the park at sunset, feeding pigeons. When questioned, he explained that a younger man had offered him a substantial sum to deliver the rose and note as an apology intended for me, a gesture tied to a personal love story he described as sincere. That marked the beginning of a recurring nightmare. Every so often, I would find a rose on my doorstep, by my window, anywhere along my lane. Despite securing a restraining order and all available evidence, his stalking persisted. After exhausting every avenue with the police, I made a drastic decision. I packed my essentials and left abruptly. Only a significant disruption of my routine allowed me to escape. I booked a flight that very day, choosing air travel as the most controlled means of escape. I even alerted airport security to keep a closer watch. I won't disclose where I went or what I'm doing now, for I still fear he might be watching. I now carry the knowledge that some mysteries never fully resolve. Though I escaped that night, the echo of these events remains with me.